Hello, hello, welcome everybody. This is Jeremiah, and I'm here with our special guest today, Vicki. How do I say that? Jern? Can you hear me okay, Vicki? Oh, looks like we lost Vicki's audio. All right, well, welcome Shift Nation. We'll get that sorted out in just a second. This is Jeremiah Demray, founder of Advisorist. Welcome to a very special interview we're going to do today. Vicki, can you hear me okay?
I can. Hi, Jeremiah.
Hey. All right, welcome, welcome. Well, we're so excited and grateful to have you here because you've had an amazing journey going from dinner seminars to a completely virtual operation where you're getting like 8 people a week showing up on your calendar. And today we're all together right now to discuss how you did that and what that journey was like for you. Before we dive into that, I wanted to give an invitation to all of you watching us on Facebook. There's a way that you can get your comments featured here on the live, and that's what we want to do. So underneath what you should be seeing now, if you want to get your comments featured, go right now, just open up a new tab and go to chat.restream.io/FB. And then it'll just say, hey, do you want to feature your comments? You're going to link your Facebook account to Restream, and we would love to have your comments featured here. So for now, for those of you watching us live on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, if you guys are ready to get started, give us a big ready that the audio is working, the video is working, you can see us okay. Give us a big ready there, folks. Awesome. Okay, I can see that coming in. Excellent, guys. All right, very good. Well, let's dive in. So, Vicki, we love to start off. You've been a longtime member of Shift Nation. You've been our Power Hours. Tell us, where are you right now?
We're located in Houston, Texas, where a lot of heat is.
Yeah, and I
lots
heard
of humidity.
They asked you to turn up your thermostats too, right?
Oh yes. Well, actually, you have to be careful because of the power grid down here too, the electric grid. So.
Got it. And then tell us, how did you get into the business, and what's your main focus? Because I know a lot of people in Shift Nation are curious.
Carl and I, Carl happens to be my husband, who is my partner of 7 years in the business. And he and I were in the oil and gas industry here. So I actually have an engineering degree, and I ended up getting my master's also when I was working in a 2-year MBA program. And so we would use different financial advisors. And one of them was about our age. And he would talk, when we go visit with him, he would talk to Carl and not me. And so that was always a burr under my saddle. And I didn't do anything about it for a while. But over time, I realized that I had a passion for trading, also for the market, watching the market. And I was still working full time. So I, at the end of the 90s, had an account, and I thought I was just doing really good. But a monkey was good also, throwing a dart. And then and the market crashed. And so I learned so much. So I've been on the other side where people, and then so people think they're really doing great, but they don't know what they don't know. Okay. So when you think when you're riding it, it looks good. And so I ultimately made a career change. But our financial advisor at that time was with Merrill Lynch. And he told me I told him I was thinking about becoming an advisor. And he said, if you make that career change, I'd like to introduce you to my OSJ. And if you and she get along, I'd like to be your mentor. And so I left the oil and gas industry. I didn't get kicked out. I left it, and actually went to work for Merrill Lynch, one of the big companies. And I haven't looked back since. It was just I just wanted to help people, and that's still where I'm at.
Beautiful. It shows through in your attitude and in your spirit. We really appreciate that. And we're going to do something a little bit unique today. I'm actually going to be taking some notes for all of the members of Shift Nation who are watching this live. And if you guys would like to get the notes, I'm going to go ahead and bring them up on the screen. Hopefully nothing disappears or breaks. But you guys should be able to see my notes there. So I'm going to, I've made it kind of big. let's kind of make a little adjustment. We don't need it that big, but I do want to, if you guys are watching this on mobile, I'm going to be documenting the framework that Vicki has gone through with her husband. And I think that'll be very helpful. So if you guys would like the framework at the end, in the comments, wherever you are right now, YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, put the word framework underneath. Put the word framework on it. Just go ahead and type it in right now if you want the notes. We're going to take all the notes. Forgive me if I have misspelling. I don't spell that great when I'm live scribing, but it'll be cleaned up. We're actually going to also do a visual graphic of the evolution and what framework Vicki's using, because we want this to be a really valuable case study for all of you. All right. So with that said, came from the engineering background, really interesting. There's one big takeaway that I got from that, and that is, always bring in both spouses into the conversation. That is huge. And, you're a big testimony to that. And I think there's a greater level of awareness that's happening in the industry now, that this is a dual conversation. This is not, don't just talk to the man. So really appreciate you bringing that up. Vicki, from there, getting started, we know that one of the biggest challenges is prospecting in this industry, right? So tell us a little bit about your journey on, getting new clients, getting into the business, and what eventually took you to seminars.
When I started with Merrill, I thought actually my goal was to work with women, but I couldn't make a living doing it. And this was back in 2000. And so I and another lady who was new, that were both starting with Merrill, we both we gave seminars, and we enjoyed doing it. And but a lot of the women would go home and say, I've talked to my husband. And then they'd never get back with us, because the husband usually was, most of the time, not always, controlling the finances, and trying to chase them down. We couldn't make a living doing that at the time. So fast forward over several years, I was working with individuals, couples, and small businesses. And so that's really where it landed. And what I've found is that, and also at Merrill, you had to do a lot of cold calling. So we would hire people to call for us. And I actually thought that I was pretty tough skinned, because I would do a lot of it too. But I don't like chasing people. I hate chasing people. And this is one of the reasons this program and the way we're headed, and our strategy now is different. I'm excited about it. And but one of the things also is that I went from Merrill to JP Morgan Chase. I've worked for some of the big guys. That was a great place for training, but I ultimately left both of them, because I could not sell some of the things that were required. And if I can't buy it, well, how can I can't sell it. And so I went independent. So that's why we're an independent company too. And so when we found out about you all, it was through White Glove. They had a big presentation where they invited you to speak and a whole lot of other people to speak. And that's how we heard about you, Jeremiah, and advisor us.
Thank you. White Glove are phenomenal business partners and an amazing company that we love to work with. So thank you for a little bit of that journey. Just out of curiosity, Shift Nation, how many of you are independent? In the comments below, give us a shout out. Let me know. Just write the word independent or you could do IND. That'll be a lot faster for you. I'll be the one typing today. You don't have to type. But if you guys are independent, let us know that, so that we can, recognize to see, and let your fellow, watchers know that you're independent. So sounds like seminars were a big part. Kudos to you for cold calling, because that's a pretty tough part of this business, and I think a lot of advisors, do that grind. What were you doing the year leading up to the beginning of COVID?
Oh, wow. We actually, since we're independent, you have to come up with your own name and advertise. You pay for everything, pretty much everything. And so we were doing seminars, and we were doing presentations, and normally they would be at nighttime. And what we would do is about one every quarter, and we would do 2 nights. So we do let's say a Thursday and a Tuesday the next week, so that it'd be 1 in 2 weeks. So if someone couldn't make it the one week, they could come the other. And we spent a lot of money. And I had done this previously when I'd worked independently with another gentleman. And I recall specifically when he would pick up a lot of the tab cold calling, with these presentations. But ultimately, then he said, okay, you all need to. And he would always go to the most expensive steakhouse. And that can really drain you quickly if you don't have to have anybody follow. And so for a lot of you that are doing these presentations and you've got a system down, kudos to you. That's great. But and we did get clients out of this. But we spent a lot of money for it and had to chase a lot of times. And there's a lot of plate lickers. And I can say that. I can say that because I would imagine I've done that too years ago too. But it's very annoying. And there's no need to anymore. After meeting you all and the things that we can do now, there's no need to do it.
Let's talk a little bit about, because I want Shift Nation to really appreciate what are the costs involved? I appreciate what you said. This is really not a class about don't do seminars or don't do webinars. It's about finding what's right for you and making it work into a system. And I love what you said, because we have a lot of members of Shift Nation that are crushing it with seminars. They're crushing it with webinars. They're doing really, really well. But for you, it sounds like this is an ROI-based conversation. So let's kind of have that. Would you be comfortable sharing, Vicki, what was the average cost, to run a seminar with that business partner at these nice steakhouses? Like, what would you need to be dropping in order to get that done?
I don't have the number on that because I can tell you what we've done, Carl and I, over the last 3 to 5 years. Since we've been doing it, we would not go to the same steakhouse down here in Texas. We have Saltgrass Steakhouse. And then we also found an Italian restaurant that is the owner makes everything himself. And it's a great place. And so we really liked where we found, but we were spending probably about $5,000 for 2 seminars. And that was the 2 together. And if you add that up, and so sometimes we covered the cost with clients, but sometimes it was just but a lot of times people wouldn't want to give you the information. They were just there to meet their friend and have a dinner. And so that was what was extremely annoying. So yeah, could we do it still? Yeah, we could. I don't want to. I just don't want to have to deal with it. So we spent probably in the last 5 years, Carl and I've talked about that, we probably spent between $100,000 to $150,000. And, and we've got clients out of those presentations, but to me, it's not worth it.
Why isn't it worth it? I mean, if you're getting clients, why wouldn't you just keep doing it?
First of all, after COVID, I had to go back and reevaluate where we are. And I don't want to, I honestly don't want to spend the time and getting all those invitations out and the money. And it's just Carl and I. We didn't have a back office. It's just us. But we paid someone to send the invitations out. But ultimately, Carl would call, then I would follow and call and call and call. And you have other work to do. And it was just kind of, and we really want to go virtual. That's where we see ourselves headed. And that's where we want, because we don't want to work, but maybe 3 to 3.5 days a week and actually work from different locations. We're at the age where we only want so many clients. So it's not where we want to be anymore. And COVID probably was a good test for that.
That's interesting. There's some members of Shift Nation are not quite sure what a plate licker is. It's funny when we talk about this, people are like, I don't even know what that is. So tell people, you did get clients from it, but what is a plate licker?
Okay, I want to tell you all a funny story. It'll be real quick. So when I was working for another gentleman prior to owning going out to on my own, he would do these presentations, and he had actually had someone calling and all that. And this little lady would come to the steakhouse, all dressed up in the nines, and that with her hat and all of this stuff. She would never meet with him, but she always came to these presentations. And so finally he told his marketer that was sending stuff out, do not invite her anymore. I don't want to see her at these presentations. She doesn't come in. We can't follow up. And so the next time he had a presentation, she showed up. And he was mad, and he went to the marketer and said, "Why is she here?" So he put her on the spot. She went and asked why she was there, and her friend invited her. She always went to the steakhouse dressed up because it was a time for her to get a free meal, a fancy place, and she is a plate licker.
So that's a place. I even can see the visual. You know, the classy,
Oh my God,
the classy little old lady coming in. You know, driving into the parking lot.
Yeah, and I still to this day laugh about it. You know, it was funny.
So it's basically somebody who's just there to eat, right? They have no intention of meeting with you.
Now, one of our clients, because we required when they come in, we required that if there's a husband and wife, they both come in. They have to both come in. If they don't, then we're not going to, they're going to either have to reschedule, or we're not. I just don't want to work with them because I don't think it's fair. I just feel like I'm adamant that the wife has to be there too. Even if she don't want to be there and hear it, she needs to know what's going on. But one of our clients that we actually got from the presentation was so funny. When they came in to visit with us, I said, "Why did you attend our presentation?" Because there were so many Social Security people were telling us they got invitations all over, a lot of invitations. And that's another thing too. Mm-hmm. And so he said, "To be quite honest, I like Saltgrass Steakhouse and I was hungry." But he became a client.
Yeah, it's funny. I heard a story once where somebody came to a dinner seminar and he had a stack of invitations that he had received that month from all the financial advisors in the area. Now this is mailers, right?
Yes.
And he's like, "Yeah, I collect them. You know, I came to eat." Look, we're not here to bash seminars, but it's just interesting, the story, because they do really work. Like,
yes,
even if you drop 5K and you get like a couple of annuity clients out of it, you get $1 million in AUM and you hold that person for 10 years. I mean, it's a positive ROI. That's 2, 3, maybe even 400% ROI.
Right.
But what I want to focus on here is lifestyle design.
Yes, yes.
And for those of you who are members of Shift Nation, you know that here at Advisorist, we provide world-class training, coaching, and teaching to teach advisors how to build their own appointment engines, because our mission is to help 10,000 advisors not only double your book of business, but give you back 100 days a year. And that's why I think we're so aligned, and you resonated with us, Vicki, is I just heard you say, we want to work 3 days a week and we want to do it from anywhere, right?
Yes.
And so if that's something, Shift Nation, those of you that are watching, that resonates, just put lifestyle in the comments right now, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. Let us know that that's what you're really here to do, is to design a lifestyle around this amazing business of insurance and financial services, because that's what we're here to do. Who wants to make all this money and have no time to enjoy it, be totally burnt out? And you know, I'm a fastidious profit first zealot to the point of religious fervor. And I really believe that if there's a way to get a better ROI and do it in less time, and I don't have to work as hard for it, I'm going to study that thing and I'm going to understand it, and then I'm going to innovate on it. That's just how I'm wired. And obviously that really resonates with you.
Yes.
So Vicki, yeah, go ahead. You have something to say?
Well, and also we want to pick and choose our clients. We were able to some, but we don't take everybody as a client anymore. And those of you that are younger, starting out, and I know that, and I just have to throw this out there, anybody that's younger, starting out, and you feel like you have to take everybody, it's just going to make your life miserable, because truly you won't want to answer the phone. There's going to be times when you just really don't want it. So make sure those clients are someone you enjoy and they fit what you're trying to do.
Excellent feedback. And thank you guys. See Bruce here commenting lifestyle. He's all about that lifestyle. And that's a really big point. I definitely want to document that. Is, you know, would you say, like Vicki, is like, be picky about who you work with?
Oh, definitely. They got to be a fit. And actually, the hardest thing that's ever happened that I've ever done was fire a client. And actually, after I fired them, it was like a load off my shoulders. And so now and this comes with experience, you know what to look for.
Very good. Let's talk a little bit about the transition. So, you know, you saw me speak, you learned about Advisorist, you started attending the power hours. what were some of your, and that's the path to the virtual life, right? Is if you're going to build a lifestyle where you're location independent, you need to leverage technology. And there is a big wall of resistance that I've noticed in advisors that are, maybe after the age of 50 or 55. I find that some advisors, now there's a small percentage that just absolutely embrace it, and that's great. But I would say the vast majority are a little less, they're a little more reticent to embrace technology and say, yeah, I'm going to lean into Facebook. I'm going to lean into LinkedIn. I'm going to lean into Zoom meetings because I've just done it this way all my life. Vicki, did you ever have that going into this process where you had to have a conversation with yourself about, mastering and basically being, okay, I got to learn something new? Tell us a little bit about your evolution between you and your husband on that.
Yes, the answer is yes, and it still continues, okay? Because I am in that age bracket that you said, Jeremiah, but I'm not going to say what it is, but no one else needs to know. And when we first started listening to Advisor Power Hour, we hardly ever missed it. We'd even go on vacation and listen to you because we got so much out of it. But we didn't just jump in right away. We listened to the Advisor Hour, and we just had, over time, it had to be a joint decision since we own the business jointly, but we both said, we really think that this is something, we really liked your passion, and we really liked what you had to say. And also, it just made sense. Because we weren't using, because of what I've done before and where I've been, using LinkedIn was not an option, it wasn't an option. And Facebook, it was so challenging to get it compliant approved with the way I wanted, or you had to pay extra to do certain things. And so I really didn't do any of that. But now, so we finally said, this is the way it's going to be. This is the future. It is the future. Plus, we have 3 grown children, and our son, who's in his mid to late 20s, we knew it, and our kids, especially him. So we decided I signed up for the Brits business thing first. I shouldn't say what I was going to say. I fiddled around and didn't actually, I listened to it and I was overwhelmed, very overwhelmed, but I really like what they presented. And we haven't done it yet, but that's one of our next opportunities, because when you brought the LinkedIn in and the opportunity to use this, it made more sense, because I need some people to visit with, I need to reach out to the community, out to the world. And so I talked to Yvette, who works for you, and asked her, I said, I've got the Brits platform I can do, but I'm a little overwhelmed. Do you think I should do LinkedIn or the Brits first? And we had a chat about it, and she said, I think I would go with LinkedIn. And it's actually been the smartest thing, because I've been taking baby steps about learning a lot of new things. So I'm already feeling a lot more confident that when I start going back and looking at what the Brits did and how to include that in our system, we've already got a lot of the stuff. I feel like I can do it. I feel more confident.
Wow. I'm here. I'm going to celebrate you.
Thank you.
Just because, but to go for a place where I'm resistant to technology, but I know I got to do, and you dove in with.
You're not there.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
You cut out a little bit, Jeremiah.
Okay. Yeah, am I back for you?
Yes, you are.
So Carmen and Darius Britt are 2 life insurance advisors who were stuck in the seminar treadwheel and the networking treadmill, and they decided, just because they ran out of money and they were $100,000 in debt, we're going to go and try something on YouTube. So they started recording videos related to infinite banking. Fast forward 12 months later, they generate an average of 60 appointments on their calendar every single month, completely automated, all through free YouTube traffic. And they run their whole business on $500 a month in marketing expenses. And that's the program that you joined, and they're doing now $75,000 a month in constant commissions.
Mhm.
So we created a course with the Brits, and that's what you first joined. And then it was a little overwhelming because there's a little bit of technology you got to set up for YouTube. But now you graduated to LinkedIn. So let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn, and what's the strategy that you, with our coaches, working with Chris, Brianna, and all the folks over on the Shift program, what's kind of the strategy that you've taken? Because I'm going to go back up to my notes at the beginning. I noticed how you have always had a mindset for niches, because when you were at Merrill to work with women, then you switched it at JP Morgan Chase. You started working with individuals, small businesses. What kind of help did you get to go into niche? Because I think this is something that a lot of advisors need help with, is deciding on a niche.
And that's a really good question. And if Brianna's listening to this, she knows how I struggled through this, because we went back and looked at our clientele, our clients, and we looked at how many were couples, small business, and women, and actually a fairly big percentage. And so we did that, and I still love working with couples, but statistically, women outlive men. And we have people that have lost ladies that have lost their spouses, one that just did, and also divorcees. And I kept coming back to, this was really what I wanted to niche down to. And also on LinkedIn, you really should be, not a generalist, but more of you need to find your niche. And so that's where I kept going back to. But then I would sleep on it when I was coming up with my USP, and then I'd change it around. So don't be like me if you're thinking about this. Just do it, and then you can change it down the road if you need to. I should have moved faster. And now I look back, and no one's telling me to say this. I just know that's the way it was. I have an engineering tendency to overthink things sometimes, and that's not. And on this, I should have just moved with it and know that I could change it. And so I ended up going with women. Carl is also on LinkedIn, and he is doing something. That's my partner, and we decided to do this on both of us. And so I'm focusing on women, and Carl is more of the couples in the state of Texas. And so and then we both have a process that we refer to in our on our LinkedIn, which working with Brianna, she says, we need to kind of tie this together. And she helps so much. Chris has helped so much. And so it just makes sense. But I also started with hardly any contacts on LinkedIn, hardly any. So those of you who think, oh my gosh, I've only got 50, I was at 65 or maybe a little less. I'm almost 500 now. And that's just LinkedIn. I mean, but that's not including the third degrees and all the others too out there. And so I'm just really excited, really excited.
That's phenomenal. I'm going to share your profile here, because I think it's important for folks to see this framework in action. By the way, do I spell Carl with a K or a C?
K.
Okay, got it. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing this tab, and I'm going to share a different one. And this is something for you, Shift Nation, to take a good look at. Whoops, wrong tab. Let's try that one more time. All right, so this is your profile. Can you see that okay, Vicki?
Let me put my glasses on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right, perfect. All right, so this is your profile. I love, you got a nice professional headshot. You got a nice bright yellow background, and you've got B Financial Partners. Tell us a little bit about this branding here. What does this mean for you? The yellow, the B, and this system of BEE.
Thanks for asking, because it's very special to me. Like I said, when I went independent, I had to come up with a name, a brand, just everything. And so I was going, what are we going to name? What do I name this company? We have 3 grown children, and the B comes from the first initial of our 3 grown children, Bethany, Emily, and Elliot. I never in my wildest dreams ever thought I was going to be a business owner when I had children. and that their name would fall into working for my name for my business. But and so I like bees. Bees are great as far as because they're actually very hard workers, but it really is not because of that. It's because of the name of our first initial of our children. And then if down the road one of them decides they want to come into the business, it just makes sense. Or if a couple of them do, or if they don't, I'm not going to pressure them. And then the branding, it just made sense, the black and yellow and gold. And so when I first started out then as B Financial, and I did a lot of networking, going to client networking. It was so funny. It hasn't happened for quite a while now, but because haven't really been out a lot. But I would be known as the bee lady. I'd go somewhere, they might not remember my name, but they remembered I was the bee lady.
And you really chose your branding well, because the color yellow in color psychology and branding psychology is all about joy. It's about possibility. It's related to happiness. So you really exude that, Vicki, and so kudos to you.
Thank you.
This is very important too. Is we always encourage advisors, when you come through the shift
We're not hearing you now, Jeremiah.
Program, which member of. Hello, how about now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you guys. Thanks for your patience, Shift Nation. I don't have great internet today, but that doesn't stop me from showing up and giving you guys my best. So we encourage everybody to develop a name to your system, right? So tell us about that process as well, because I love your USP here. And you say home of the beehive, FORM formula. What does that mean?
So the FARM stands for family, occupation, recreation, and money. So family is usually number one for people. And then occupation, if they want to figure out a work optional lifestyle. So we help them, especially if they're still working, figure out, how can we get to, we just help them through that. And the recreation, most people want to do something. They like you, Jeremiah, you like to travel and you like to give. But what does that take? You've got to have assets and money too. So that's part of the farm. We went through some branding.
I love it. And I love how every letter for you has a meaning.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful. So I love that. And the other thing I love is your unique sales proposition. Oops, let me just drop back. Your sales proposition is really good. Helping women who selflessly put others' needs first, prepare for every stage of their financial life utilizing the Beehive formula. Has that made a difference for you in the type of people that show up to meet with you from this program?
I've actually had some comments about it. Because usually I use your what you and when I meet with someone for the first time for the 15-minute chat, I ask them why they took I put it a different way, but basically I'm asking them why they decided to spend some time with me for 15 minutes out of their busy day. And I've had people say, I read your profile and I like the word selflessly. Or they would say, I've had people ask what the Beehive formula is. And so I really think a lot of ladies can relate to it. I can, because that's why I did it, because I'm still in the sandwich generation with 3 grown children, grandkids, a business, and an 86-year-old mother who lives with us also. So most of us, what we see is that and men too, but women, you are usually the caregivers normally, mm-hmm. and you put everybody else, and then at the end of your life, you're going, oh crap, what's going to happen to me? And so that's really important. If I can just reach a few women and help them every time through every, and I'm not just a few, but I know I can't be for everybody, but if I can just help some of these ladies, I will feel so rewarded.
Yeah. And, so this is for you, Shift Nation, a couple of takeaways, have in your header your main call to action. Like here, Vicki, there's no mistaking. She's here to empower women. She's got a photo here of 4 generations in one image. And that really resonates for you being a caregiver for your mother that lives with you, that you have 3 kids. You also have grandkids. You've got your call to action here, your formula. So hopefully, Shift Nation, these are kind of tips you guys are picking up on right now. Having a clear USP, using even an emoji inside your name. You see here how it's not just Vicki, but she has her credentials and MBA, very impressive, got an emoji, and then home of the Beehive formula. So this is extra real estate that you can use. You don't just have to put your full name. You can use that extra real estate on LinkedIn. That's phenomenal. The other thing that we were able to help you do is set up this services section, which is something that LinkedIn is really pushing right now. So if you've gotten that invitation, be sure to use that, because here this allows you to be found by more people who are looking for the services that you have. Let's talk a little bit about the difference that you felt moving from the seminar world, where you're not location independent, to now what you're experiencing. So at the end of the day, Vicki, this is all about meeting new prospects, right? It's great to have.
Jeremiah, you've cut out again, but I'll go ahead and start.
A nice profile. It's great to have a good. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
You keep cutting out, but you told me that might happen. So I am, for those of you that are familiar with the LinkedIn and going, and for those of you that aren't, there's a couple of ways to go about when you're doing LinkedIn and networking. And I'm not a high pressure salesperson. Neither is my partner. We actually want to build relationships and see if it's a good fit. And so I have, for those of you that know Rob Salsa, which Rob is on here a lot of times, and I chose to follow in his, what he does is building the relationships first. And so with what I'm doing is that when I have the 15-minute chat with someone, I'm really trying to understand what they're doing. I'm taking notes. I already have my questions on side, so I don't run out of them, but I'm also taking notes so I can find if there's something that we have in common. Right now, I'm also, I've only done one, actually I've done 2, but I'm on my 2nd degree, and I did not start out with 2,500 people. And that's the max. I've actually got almost 1,500. So I am so excited that I've actually have really good percentages in there too. But I'm finding, since this is like the first time I've done the 2nd degree, that maybe there's some places I might change, but I'm still excited about what I'm learning. Because a couple times what I've found is that someone will say, well, do you do this? And what I've done is that instead of saying, what I'll do is I've done this for a couple times, and it's just amazing how I got them to talk to me. I'll say, let me think about this, and I'm going to reach out and see if I have an answer for you and can help you. And then I will get back with them if I have an answer, because it's maybe something I didn't know, but I'm really trying to let them know I'm trying to help them too, which is something, Jeremiah, that you're always giving back. And so one lady, she had asked about something and I wasn't familiar with it. And so I reached out to someone that I trust, and they said, no, this is really where she should go. So I actually got back with her. And she agreed to meet with me. And I asked her, I said, why did you decide to meet with me? She goes, because you actually were not just trying to be someone just not, you really helped. You got back with me. You were showing that you were helping me do something. And I've had that with a few others. And then through our networking, I've also found some opportunities to speak. Now, I know I said I don't want to do presentations where there's plate lickers, but I have no problem speaking at a function where I don't have to pay for it, and they bring in the audience. No problem. And we're getting that kind of, that is what I've been doing a lot of, is building that network. If the person I talked to on that 2nd degree first time doesn't necessarily says, hey, I have an advisor, but they also say, but this is a group that I would like to introduce you to or have you speak at, I'm going to do it. if it fits in my profile and what I want to do. And that's the things that I'm seeing, and I'm really excited about. And Carl has actually had an opportunity with an HR person, and we're knocking on doors because his results have been a little different than mine. But don't discount HR people either, because depending on what kind of HR, if they're trainers to other HRs and they need speakers on different things, great opportunity. Great opportunity. I just was on my soapbox. Sorry.
Yeah, no, no. This is great. I'm just furiously taking as many notes as I can. That's huge. Tell us a little. Let's dive into that, because you're not the only one that's actually gotten speaking invitations from just being there on LinkedIn. Tell us a little more about that. What's that speaking invitation about?
Well, actually, I'm going to jump to the one. One was the first time when I started talking to someone. She goes, well, she actually works for a church. Well, I didn't know she worked for a church, but that's where she works. And she's actually the one that takes care of their events for their 55 and up and their women. And it's in an area close to us. And so as we were talking, she let me know I've already got someone. But you know what, Vicki? Would you be interested in coming and talking to our 55 and up, and it's couples, in August or September, and the women on a Saturday? Well, you know what? If she's inviting them, I'll definitely do that. And I told her, I said, this is what I can talk about. And in fact, I said, if you'd like for the 55 and up, I'd be happy to bring a partner along that's a CPA or an estate attorney. And that was just, she says, really, that's awesome. And so my thought is that we get our name out there, and that will work. And then I've got next week, I'm actually meeting with a lady who's going to be president of the Federation of Houston Professional Women here in Houston. I actually belong to that, but I didn't know this lady. She happened to be someone, and she's going to be the president. And with COVID, it's struggling a little bit. And I'm invited someone that's been a member for years that I know. And she and I are going to meet with this lady to see if we can help her, give her some ideas for the future. Well, the little that you all don't know is that she belongs to the Society of Women Engineers. That's what I'm really hoping to help out, get into. I would love to, because a lot of these young women engineers coming out of college are making six figures. They need someone to help them too. So those are just some ideas. You just have to think outside the box. Carl hasn't had the same success, but again, just realize that sometimes you have to work on your niche. And so, but he has had his second talk. He had it yesterday with a lady who's over works with HR. She does it's a business educational HR, and they train other HRs all over the United States. But here in Houston, she's got people that come in, and she has asked us, or asked him, but us, to submit to her what kind of presentations we could do, because she's interested in us doing some presentations, whether it's key man, whether it's risk 401ks, risk analysis, Roth, or women, or whatever. Hey, we'll do that, because you never know where this is going to lead. And we don't have to pay for it.
Advanced classes, it's all about leveraging other people's networks, right? But how do you do that? You can't just show up somewhere and be like, geek there. It's all about adding you. So I'm hoping that our listeners today are getting this. Here, you said something really interesting. And I think the story of the woman, the mindset that you need to have to be successful with LinkedIn strategies, no matter what strategy you're using, is you always have to have that go-giving mindset. You're always got to be showing up, trying to help people. And that's what you do, even chat, 15-minute chats. All you're doing is you're looking for a common interest. Right? It's not about looking at people as a bag of money over their head. It's about, how can I really serve this person? Do you want to comment a little bit about that? And
well, of course I would love to close them, within a day, a couple of meetings. And ultimately, that'd be great. But I look back at all of our clients that we've had and know what the time frame is it takes for them to get to know us and us to get to know them, and the process, because we do have a process that we go through first before we sell them something. And so that is very important. And so I love people. And so I'm always looking. My kids always said that I could talk to a tree. And I noticed there's a comment out here saying you are making my head spin nonstop. I hope I'm sorry about that. I hope it's not a bad spin, whoever said that. But I'm always trying to look, listen, and see what I can provide and where it might lead. Yesterday, I spoke with someone, another lady, and I didn't know where it was going to go. I asked her the questions, and she was a nurse. So I already had something in common with her. I have 2 daughters that are nurses. Okay. I look to see if they've gone to my college. I just look at anything, go back and look at what they've done. And so then she actually talks about stress, and that's what she's doing now. Well, you know what? Stress causes a lot of people not to plan and check out their investments and stuff. So she wants to have a second talk to see if maybe we can do some kind of something together to help each other out. It's worth a shot to see where it leads. So yeah, it takes time, but I'm open right now because it's fun. And I really believe we're only looking for X amount of clients, and we're going to find what we want because it's enough clients out there for all of us. Are you there?
I call it the attitude.
Yeah.
That, nobody on this line could ever handle it, even in their own. So having this attitude of abundance makes you approach every conversation like, hey, hey, there's a possibility. If not here, there's going to be another one. And that's why you're willing to come on here and share openly, what you believe. So Vicki, can you help us out? You can still hear me, right?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Well, sorry about that. So Vicki, I think Chris sent me a message on Slack this morning about the number of appointments you had last week. You want to share with us how many people you got to?
I had 8 appointments, 7 or 8 last week. This week, I haven't had as many, but you know what?
How many appointments you had?
I've had 7 or 8 last week. This week, I've had several, not 8, but I'm making them out to next week. And I'm being cautious because I have a doctor's appointment.
Just from this.
Pardon? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay. And so when you look at, when I first started this campaign on second degrees, I actually had close to about 1,500 second degrees. And so from that second degree, when you're in LinkedIn in this, I am at about a 43%. I forgot what it's called. I should know what it is, and I don't have it in front of me. 40. I've actually got a success. I've actually talked to about 11 to 12%, which is awesome because the average is around 7 or 8. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm setting up second degrees. What I'm still learning is that there's probably some that I don't need to visit with. And you can kind of start seeing that and just write them off right off the bat. And so that's part of the training as we go further along.
Let's just kind of outline for everybody here at Shift Nation, what's the framework that Vicki took herself through? So she developed a niche, right? That's really important, understanding the niche. She named her system, the book action technology. That's a really big one. You might be thinking, why should I put this in the framework? Well, this is huge because there's probably some of you watching right now that the whole reason you haven't taken action is I'm too tech stop you, right? Don't make those excuses for you. Use Vicki as a source of inspiration for you. This is an amazing grandmother who is also caring for her 87-year-old mother who is doing so well. In fact, her numbers better than people half her age. So it's all, you started with your first campaign, then you moved into your second degree. And through this shift program, we're able to understand that this is really about adding value. That, like I would say, client acquisition, being really natural, non-sales. And like, hey, so you saw my profile, right? So you want to buy something from me? You want a life policy? Gross. Nobody does that, right? Nobody will want to do that. You'll see how poorly that actually works. And we teach you how to do that in the accelerator. Acquisition, the speaking engagement. Right? Do you think that all of this would have happened, the speech ever happened when you were doing seminars? This building of the...
No, and actually, no, I don't think it would have. But also, I've been a networker, and I actually limit to how many groups that I would network with. And then with COVID, what happened with COVID is that the networks weren't meeting, or else they would eventually go virtual. And I've had to reevaluate. Every year I reevaluate the networking groups I'm in. But none of this, even though in the networking groups I've got clients through them also. This would not. This has changed. There's no doubt in my mind that this would not have happened. I think this has really helped a lot, and I'm excited about it. In fact, the way our program is going to be, it's going to be a lot different. And Carl's on board with that also.
That's great.
And just FYI, everybody, Jeremiah.
One of my favorite quotes, Kiyosaki, who said that
you're cutting out, Jeremiah.
Sorry about that.
We didn't hear your quote. We didn't hear your quote, or I didn't.
Oh, my favorite quote. I actually did that to keep you in suspense. My favorite quote is by Robert Kiyosaki. One of my favorites, Robert Kiyosaki. Everyday people work for a living. Rich people build networks.
Yeah, that's true.
Rich people heard that 20 years ago, and it just set a light bulb off in my head. Like everybody I know that has like true, right? They always have like a golden Rolodex or a platinum Rolodex. They can mysteriously get access to anybody, but it's not a mystery. It's just because they took time to build a true network. And that's what's different about what you're doing than buying leads, hiring a marketing company to get people to call for you, having strangers book appointments on your calendar without knowing who you are. It's really, it's so amazing what happens on LinkedIn. You build a network, like people that you become friends with. In fact, Chris, whose leads our LinkedIn program at the Shift Accelerator here, that's been coaching you, we met through LinkedIn. Now we're really good friends. So that's what I'm so proud of you. You were just a great example to everybody on getting over, those initial frustrations and not giving up. Like you joined the virtual advisor appointment engine. You honestly said, look, I didn't actually do it, but I'm not going to give up. This has got to work for us to get to lifestyle. You're an inspiration.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. And for those, go ahead.
And you all, actually, it was listening to you and your team, our inspiration, and it's just a way to do it. And I noticed someone asked, well, why do I only want to work 3.5 days? I'm not there. I'm working towards that. I have a goal. and the goal is a lot more achievable, I think, now.
Yeah. So you've taken a process that what you knew was seminar marketing, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that, but you didn't like the time investment. You didn't want to do all the work, understanding the constraints of you and Carl working together. You wanted to keep things simple. You wanted to simplify your client acquisition. And what you got in the process was not just a simpler process. You got friends, you got a power network, you got speaking engagements, and you're just out of the gate. Like, I'll be honest, like you're how many days into this program?
I would say probably month and a half, 2 months, or a month and a half, something like that. 2 months. I don't remember when
Like,
it started really. I should have started sooner. Just imagine where I'd be now. Take it from me, those of you that have this engineering mindset, don't fiddle fart around, okay? That's what I was going to say earlier.
that's got to go underneath. Don't fiddle fart around. That'll be the quote.
You can tell I'm.
I want a T-shirt that says "Don't fiddle fart around," and then a quote by Vicki J.
No, don't
Yeah,
do
Janet
that. That was not compliant approved.
right. Janet is chiming in. Your network equals your net worth. Yeah, Janet's another amazing student who hopefully we're going to have her on one of these lives very soon, because she's like you. She's taking massive action. She's not overthinking it, and she's getting amazing results. So thank you, Janet, for that quote. Absolutely. So Vicki, as we kind of, round the bases here, and by the way, for those of you that are interested, if you'd like to experience the same results in the same community and the coaching and the hand-holding and the support that Vicki's getting, and hundreds of other advisors that are getting calendar appointments, booking themselves on their calendar, check out the link below. You can see it right here, meetwithadvisorist.com. Let's have an open and honest 15-minute conversation. We're just going to find out where you're at. That's where Vicki started, right? She just started with a conversation. And look, here's the way we operate at Advisorist. Our mission is to be a force for good. So even if you get on the call and we see it's not a good fit, we're still going to give you some training to help you out. And then maybe down the road, you'll be ready to step up to the higher levels that Vicki and Janet and hundreds of our amazing clients are doing. Rob Sousa. It's funny you mentioned Rob, because I love Rob's story. And you guys could check out his interview on YouTube. We did it about a month ago. Check out our YouTube channel. Look for Rob Sousa's there. But here's a guy whose business was going to crumble during COVID. You kept mentioning COVID like 6 times today.
Yeah.
They were going to go out, and his dad, they used the Power Hour information that was free, right? Every Wednesday at noon, they came to the Power Hour and they just watched, and then they applied just like you. Within 90 days, they made $250,000 in fees and commissions. And then in 6 months, they made $500,000 in fee. Because then after 90 days, they're like, oh, shoot, we better join the paid training, because the paid training is going to be even more amazing. If this is the free stuff, imagine what the paid stuff is like.
Right.
So, and now he's one of our coaches. He wrote us and said, I want to give back to you guys because you guys gave us so much. So cool. It's not because we're wonderful. It's really Chris and Brianna are wonderful, not really me. They're amazing, and they helped him. And now he's one of your coaches too. And I bet you're going to be coaching us on some other things that you're finding out. Like, I love the little angle on the speaking engagements. That could help so many people. So as we round the bases here, Vicki, any last words of encouragement you'd like to give Shift Nation before we pop off here?
Would I do it again? Yes. There's no doubt. I don't hesitate. And for those of you, Jeremiah did not even ask. Jeremiah has not asked me to say this. I would do this again. And there's no doubt. And actually, we're in the process of interviewing a virtual assistant. So I'm really excited. I think that will, because there's only my partner and I, and with the way I plan on using LinkedIn, we need somebody to support us. So I'm so excited. I never thought I would be to that point. Now, we're going to start off slow, but hopefully it'll eventually go to full time, and then we can travel a little bit too. Yay! But I would do this again. We have a lot of people have we talk about a financial stool to our clients, but we have a financial marketing stool. And this is just one of the legs that we're doing, because through Advisorist and through some other things that we're going to be doing, in my mind now, I have a clearer path of what I want to see. And when we get that virtual assistant, I really believe, and also take care of your clients, I just see it happening. I'm excited. I'm excited. Thank you very much, Jeremiah.
Oh, it's an honor that one of our private clients and, LinkedIn, and now getting your YouTube channel back activated, tackling that, then using those videos to nurture people and educate people on LinkedIn, and doing it the right way. So you're not trying to figure it out on your own, overthink it like an engineer does, but basically just taking the formula, applying it, and then putting it to work. We're really, really grateful for you. It's been such a joy chatting with you, Vicki. Thank you so much for being here and for taking an hour out of your day. Please give Carl a big hug on our behalf because he lent you to us today for an hour. So give the man a hug and a high five. We appreciate him. And Shift Nation, if this sounds like underneath, go to meetwith.com. We'll have a no hard pressure. That's it. That's it, Vicki. No sales. Just have a conversation. At the very least, a clear path. And we'll give you some training. And be sure to subscribe so that the next time we have great interviews and tips that you get them. And if you're not a member of our Facebook group, what are you waiting for? There's 3,000 advisors there willing to help out and share stories. And of course, the virtual advisor power. That's the last thing I'll tell you. If you're not joining us every Wednesday, you're missing out. Wednesday noons, we do great trainings. We have invited guests like people like Vicki, and we share what's working now. So on behalf of the whole team here at Advisors, thank you, Vicki. We love you. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.